So now I will go into the details of the hell realm. If a person has done a lot of evil karma, evil actions by body or mouth or thoughts, then he is reborn in hell. And when he is reborn in hell, those heavenly beings seize him and bring him before King Yama. King Yama in Cantonese we call Yen Lo, in Mandarin called Yen Lo Wang. And then all the accusations of his evil deeds are laid before him. And then this King Yama will question him why he did not heed the warnings given to him in his previous life. And then this man is surprised. He said, I didn't see any warnings given to me. And then the King Yama said, did you not see an old man? Very old, wrinkled, hunchback, white hair or no hair, tottering, weak. He said, yeah, I saw an old man. So King Yama said, when you saw this old man, you should have realized that one day you will be just like this old man. And one day, since you become old like that, you should have been more careful on your actions. Then the second messenger to warn him was supposed to be a sick man. He saw somebody very sick, for example, somebody with cancer, terminally ill with cancer. And then we should realize also there's a great possibility that one day also we will be sick like that. And then the third one is a corpse. If you go to a funeral, you see a corpse, then you must understand that one day our body also will turn into the corpse. So we should have been more careful. So after questioning him about these warning messengers, then the King Yama becomes silent. Now this description of the torture in hell is given very clearly in the Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 130, Dhammavuddho Sutta. Actually most religions talk about heaven and hell, and so does the Buddhist religion. But the Buddha has talked in great detail about these different planes of existence, because he himself, as I will read to you later, because he himself, he said he has seen and he has known for himself. It's not that he has heard it from somebody, because the Buddha had this great psychic power to see all these things. So the description of the torture in hell, I will read to you, so that you can get a very good idea exactly what the Buddha said. In the sutta, the Buddha said, now the wardens of hell torture him with the fivefold transfixing. They drive a red-hot iron stake through one hand. They drive a red-hot iron stake through the other hand. They drive a red-hot iron stake through one foot. They drive a red-hot iron stake through the other foot. They drive a red-hot iron stake through his belly. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings. Yet he does not die so long as that evil action has not exhausted its result. I'll stop here for a moment. So you see here, when you suffer in hell, it's not like the human plane. In the human plane, when we are tortured like that, the pain is so great we cannot stand. We just die off. But in hell, you cannot die. You have to suffer. You cannot die. It's only later books, sometimes they say that some beings in hell, they die, and then after that they are reborn again. But that is later books. Now to continue with the sutta. Next, the wardens of hell throw him down and tear him with axes. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings. Yet he does not die so long as that evil action has not exhausted its result. Next, the wardens of hell set him with his feet up and his head down and bear him with axes. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings. Yet he does not die so long as that evil action has not exhausted its result. That means they take this, what do you call that in Cantonese? This axe. You know, like the old one, they used to hold like that, and then they plane the wood, you know. How? Yeah, how. Yeah, so they plane the person's flesh away, and yet he cannot die. To continue, next the wardens of hell harness him to a chariot and drive him back and forth across burning ground, blazing and glowing. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings, yet he does not die so long as that evil action has not exhausted its result. Next the wardens of hell make him climb up and down a great mound of burning coals, blazing and glowing. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings, yet he does not die so long as that evil action has not exhausted its result. Next the wardens of hell take him feet up and head down and plunge him into a red hot metal cauldron, burning, blazing and glowing. He is cooked there in a swirl of froth, and as he is being cooked there in a swirl of froth, he is swept now up, now down, and now across. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings, yet he does not die so long as that evil action has not exhausted its result. Let's stop here for a moment. This one is like he's cooked, you know, in a big pot, just like when you cook rice. What do you see? The grains of rice go up and down, go sideways, and so in the same way this person is cooked. He goes up and down and goes sideways and all that. Now to continue. Next the wardens of hell throw him into the great hell. Now as to that great hell, monks, it has 4 corners and is built with 4 doors, one set in each side, walled up with iron all around, and shut in with an iron roof. Its floor as well is made of iron, and heated till it glows with fire. The range is a full 1,000 kilometers, which it covers all pervasively. I stop here for a moment. So this great hell is like a cube. It is 1,000 kilometers long and 1,000 kilometers wide and 1,000 kilometers high, and it's all iron all around. The roof is iron, the floor is iron, the walls are iron, with four doors on the 4 sides. 1,000 kilometers is a long distance, you know. For example, is like the whole of West Malaysia. So imagine that being in that hell, in that great hell, he's walled around like a prison, and he's trying to find his way out. He has to walk one end to the other. Is 1,000 kilometers so far, you know. And then he sees one door, but the door is closed, locked. So he walks another place to go and find another door. Then he finds it's locked again. And all the time he's being burned there, you know. To continue with the description. Now the flames that surge from the great hell's eastern wall dash against its western wall. The flames that surge out from its western wall dash against its eastern wall. The flames that surge out from its northern wall dash against its southern wall. The flames that surge out from its southern wall dash against its northern wall. The flames that dash out from the bottom dash against the top. The flames that surge out from the top dash against the bottom. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings, yet he does not die so long as that evil action has not exhausted its result. Sometime or other, monks, at the end of a long period, there comes an occasion when the great hell's eastern door is open. He runs towards it, treading quickly. As he does so, his outer skin burns, his inner skin burns, his flesh burns, his sinews burn, his bones turn to smoke, and it is the same when his foot is uplifted. When at long last he reaches the door, then it is shut. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings, yet he does not die so long as that evil action has not exhausted its result. Sometime or other, at the end of a long period, there comes an occasion when the great hell's western door is open, and the same thing happens. He struggles and tries to run to that door, and it closes. When his northern door is open, when his southern door is open, he runs towards it, treading quickly, but at long last he reaches the door, then it is shut. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings, yet he does not die, so long as that evil action is not exhausted its result. So you see, I stop here, this sutta to explain. So you see this poor fellow in hell, suddenly he hears the door opening, and the door might be very far away, and he runs as fast as he can towards the door. By the time he reaches the door closes. So you imagine he's being burned, he's suffering physically, and then when he reaches the door is closed. How much mental suffering he has, you can imagine. And this, after a long time, means probably after a few years, the door is open once. Now to continue. Sometime or other amongst, at the end of a long period, there comes an occasion when the great hell's eastern door is open. He runs towards it, treading quickly. As he does so, his outer skin burns, his inner skin burns, his flesh burns, his sinews burn, his bones turn to smoke. And this is the same when his foot is uplifted. He comes out by that door. Immediately next to the great hell is the vast hell of excrement. He falls into that. In that hell of excrement, needle-mouthed creatures bore through his outer skin, and bore through his inner skin, and bore through his flesh, and bore through his sinews, and bore through his bones, and devour his marrow. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings, yet he does not die so long as that evil action has not exhausted its result. Immediately next to the hell of excrement is the vast hell of hot embers. He falls into that. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings, yet he does not die so long as that evil action has not exhausted its result. Immediately next to the hell of hot embers is the vast wood of Simbali trees. 10 kilometers high, bristling with thorns, 16 inches long, burning, blazing and glowing. They make him climb up and down those trees. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings, yet he does not die so long as the evil action has not exhausted its result. Immediately next to the wood of Simbali trees is a vast wood of sword-leaf trees. He goes into that. The leaves stirred by the wind cut off his hands and cut off his feet and cut off his hands and feet. They cut off his ears and cut off his nose and cut off his ears and nose. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings. Yet he does not die so long as that evil action has not exhausted its result. Immediately next to the wood of sword-leaf trees is a great river of caustic water or acid. He falls into that. There he is swept upstream and he is swept downstream, and he is swept upstream and downstream. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings, yet he does not die so long as that evil action has not exhausted his result. Next, the wardens of hell pull him out with a hook, and setting him on the ground, they ask him, "Good man, what do you want?" He says, "I am hungry, venerable sirs." Then the wardens of hell prise open his mouth with red-hot iron tongs, burning, blazing and glowing, and they throw into his mouth a red-hot metal ball, burning, blazing and glowing. It burns his lips, it burns his mouth, it burns his throat, it burns his stomach, and it passes out below, carrying with it his large and small intestines. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings, yet he does not die so long as that evil action has not exhausted its result. Next, the wardens of hell ask him, "Good man, what do you want?" He says, "I am thirsty, venerable sirs." Then the wardens of hell prise open his mouth with red-hot iron tongs, burning, blazing and glowing, and they pour into his mouth molten copper, burning, blazing and glowing. It burns his lips, it burns his mouth, it burns his throat, it burns his stomach, and it passes out below, carrying with it his large and small intestines. There he feels painful, racking, piercing feelings, yet he does not die so long as that evil action has not exhausted its result. Then the wardens of hell throw him back again into the great hell. So you see, this poor guy in hell, he was suffering in that great hell and trying to get out of one of the doors, and he manages to get out one of the doors, but he fell into the hell of excrement. And in that shit, you have all these worms that can penetrate his flesh into his bone and suck his bone marrow. And he is there for many years suffering, swimming about in the hell of excrement or shit, trying to find his way out. And one day he manages to get out of that hell of excrement, and he falls into the hell of hot embers where he is burned. And he's burned there for many years and trying to get out. One day he gets out of that hell, falls into the wood of Simbali trees. And there he is caught and he's forced to climb up the tree, which is 1 kilometer high, with a lot of thorns, 16 inches long, and burning and blazing and glowing. He climbs up and down the trees for a few years and trying to get out. One day he manages to get out, goes into the wood of Simbali trees, where he suffers because the leaves cut his hands and feet and his nose, etc. Then after many years there, he manages to get out. He falls into the great river of acid, where he is burned and he's swept up and down. And then one day, after a few years, he's caught by the wardens of hell and tortured again by this metal ball thrown into his mouth and this molten metal. And then after that, they catch him and throw him back into the great hell again. So you see, he went one round, one hell after the other, went back to the great hell again. And I don't know how many times he has to go round and round like that. And according to the Buddha, a person in hell can stay there for hundreds of thousands of years. Hundreds of thousands of years, when you are suffering every moment, can be like eternity. When we are suffering, time seems to go very slowly. For example, at night when we cannot sleep, the night seems so long. But when you are happy, there seems like to be not enough time. That's why you see, like in other religions, like in Christianity, they say if you fall into hell, you are there for eternity. Actually, it seems like eternity because time is so long. Now, the Buddha said, the suffering in hell, nothing can compare to it. Even if you are stabbed by 300 spears, that pain that you experience is nothing at all compared to the pain in hell. And in hell, in one of the suttas, the Buddha said that you know what you did that caused you to be in that hell. It's not that you do not know. You realize. Firstly, when you fall into the hell, all these accusations are brought before you. What you did, for example, that you ill-treated your parents, or you killed some holy men, or you hunted animals, shot them, hundreds of animals, or you slaughtered pigs or buffaloes, etc. So when you're in hell, you actually realize what you did. And also in one sutta, the Majjhima Nikaya, Dhananjani Sutta, number 97, it is mentioned that if you are going to hell, the wardens of hell come and drag you off, That's why, like the Chinese believe, they say the Ngao Tao Ma Min, the buffalo head and the horse face coming to bring you to hell. Seems to be true because I have actually met people who told me that their father, few days before dying, actually did see these beings come. So sometimes some of these things we don't scoff at it. And then sometimes some people who are going to hell, just before they die, you can also know. For example, some of them at the last moment they may scream. If you, I don't know, in a position like me as a monk, I happen maybe I get more opportunity to talk to people about all these things, and I hear many instances of people. For example, there's one lady in Singapore. One couple told me their friend was dying of cancer, and she used the last few days before she died, she used to suddenly cry, and they asked her why. She said she saw herself tied up in chains. And she was asking why they tie her up in chains. And this happened a few times. That means probably she was going to be reborn in a place where she would be tied up in chains and probably tortured. And then many of us know, like butcher, people who kill pigs for a living, and just before they die, they show signs of behaving like a pig also. And it seems that it's very difficult for them to die. You have to show them the knife, the butcher's knife. Then only they die, because they are going to be probably chopped up, like the way they chopped up the pig. So this is a description of hell.